When Rooney criticised Van Dijk back in November 2025, Virgil responded with a jab of his own.
I think the comment about that I signed my new deal and then it's like, you know, that's it and I'll let it slide. I think that was a bit, but that's my personal opinion.
6 months later, Liverpool are out of all but one cup competition and sit 5th in the Premier League. The same Van Dijk who called out Rooney has gone on to make some costly mistakes. But to understand the full story, you need to understand what Rooney said right at the beginning.
Van Dijk and Salah, obviously they've signed new deals and whatever, but I don't think they've really led that team this season.
What makes you say that? In what way?
Just performances and body language. I think body language tells you a lot, and I think we're seeing slightly different body language from the two of them, and they're the top two players in that team, and if their body language is not right, that affects everyone else.
Rooney claimed that Liverpool were struggling this season through a lack of leadership. A fair assessment, to be honest. But Virgil van Dijk wasted little time responding.
This is what Van Dijk told reporters after the game. I didn't hear him last year. It doesn't hurt me just to come back to this particular player, obviously a legend, a big player of the game who inspired so many. I can say only positive things, but I feel that comment is just a bit of lazy criticism.
Then, not long later, Van Dijk led his team to a 1-0 victory over the great Real Madrid. Rooney was doing punditry for Amazon, and the two of them would come face to face.
In a world of chaos, you have to try and stay calm and take the perspective of things. You know, at that meeting, the time was October. So many football to be played, so many twists and turns that can happen. And I think at times the noise was a lot.
You looking at anybody around here in particular?
I'm not at all. But listen,
does the outside noise affect you, Virg, or are you just happy plodding along to do what you need to do and trying to put people right?
I think all of you know here that you're dealing with obviously a squad of 25 players, a lot of young players, a couple older players like myself, and everyone lives a different life. So I can say, like, for me personally, like, it doesn't affect me, but obviously I'm dealing as a captain with players that might be affected about it. So that's because we live in a world that with so many platforms, so many people can say stuff and will be picked up and made bigger than what else. But I think it's good that especially ex-players that play at the highest level, played at the top, that dealt with difficult moments as well, to put also a lot of things in perspective, I think.
I'm not saying it no more because I think I've spared them on. I think when you win the Premier League, and I think what I've said it was fair, when you win the Premier League and then you go on a run where you lose 3-4 games in a row, which you don't expect from Liverpool over the last few years. And then as Virgil as you as the captain, I think that's your opportunity then to go and lead the players and that's what I was saying. I think that happens in football, and I think the response has been great.
I think the comment about that I signed my new deal and then it's like, you know, that's it and I'll let it slide. I think that was a bit, but that's my personal opinion.
Virgil seemed like he got the last laugh of the situation, but the next few months would prove otherwise.
He does everything wrong. Pass, doesn't close it down and turns his back like a coward. I'm fed up. I'm fed up with sitting here and it's Mo Salah who's not played well. He's the barometer of what's wrong this year. He's supposed to be the leader. All he's done all season is throw Kerkez under the bus who didn't play, throws his arms up in the air. He's making as many mistakes as any other player. They're not always as high profile as Kanate or anybody else, who've all made mistakes. But Van Dijk, every game you could watch him and go, what's he doing? And he seems to be coming out of it relatively unscathed, and it's everybody else's fault.
People call him world class. This was Sunday League stuff. Virgil van Dijk had a nightmare in Liverpool's 3-2 loss to Bournemouth. After failing to clear the ball for the opening goal, the Liverpool captain blamed the conditions. What really annoyed fans, though, was his reaction. Cameras caught him straight after the goal, visibly frustrated, turning toward his teammates instead of holding his hands up. The mistake didn't just lead to a goal. It forced Joe Gomez into a desperate recovery that ended with a collision with Alisson and an injury.
But Van Dijk's mistakes against Sunderland and Bournemouth wouldn't be the last. In the FA Cup quarter-final, he gave away a cheap penalty against Man City, who went on to win the game.
Van Dijk, you know it might actually help to look at the ball. So you're telling me Man City 4, Liverpool 0, and 3 of the goals are on Virgil van Dijk today. I mean, for this goal, he's not even looking at the ball. Man City's first goal was all down to Van Dijk. I mean, he gave away the penalty. Please don't try anyone say it's not a penalty. It's the most blatant penalty you'll see. He kicks O'Reilly. He doesn't win the ball. If Van Dijk tried to defend properly and not just aura farm, he might have actually blocked the shot. But for Haaland's hat-trick, Van Dijk's at fault again. This is the Van Dijk that turned up against Man City. This image just sums up Virgil van Dijk perfectly. No rush. He doesn't want to risk his aura. Even if it's a goal, it doesn't matter. As long as he looks cool, as long as he doesn't ever look like he's completely been done, it'll be fine. Because, listen, as a normal defender, your first reaction is to look at the ball to try and get there. He's too busy worrying about everything else. Like, cool, if you think he's offside, it's offside, but you play to the whistle and then you go from there. But the fact he doesn't even look at the ball when Semenyo's about to shoot, and Semenyo gets the easiest goal he'll ever score.
Man like Van Disney, man like Van de Aura, de no aura, yeah? Man like Van Dijk. I'm sorry, guys. People need to, there's this kind of debate spin, Vidic is overrated. That player's overrated. This player's, but you know what it is with Van Dijk? It's like, no, we can't talk about Van Dijk. We can't discuss Van Dijk. But when he has a stinker, my word, it's a stinker. This brother just thinks, yeah, his aura can defend.
It went so fast. The ball comes in on O'Reilly's right foot. Obviously, I plant my foot behind him. And I think he bounced it to Doku. Obviously, well, I said it went so fast, so, you know, it's a split-second decision. Eventually, I managed to block the shot, but the pen is given already.